Hello?
Yes. Can you please say your first and last name for me, please?
Dean Brill. Brill.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Brill. You are good to go. We have a couple more people calling in. I'm just going to ask you, I'll say the last four digits of your phone number, and then if you could say your first and last name, just so we can mark you down.
I tried to call, but I kept pushing the *6 and it wouldn't pick up.
Okay, well, we can hear you, Linda.
Okay, good.
Thank you. So if your number ends in 5780, can you please unmute yourself and say your first and last name?
Simon, the 740 number that ends in 2689 is Judy Craig. Yes, Gwen. Yeah, the meeting ID is on the number.
All right, and if your number ends in 7360, can you please unmute yourself and say your first and last name? If you're calling in and your number ends in 7360, please go ahead and unmute yourself and say your first and last name. All right, we'll come back. If you're calling in and your number ends in 5780, please unmute yourself and say your first and last name.
I'm unmuted.
Perfect, thank you. Is that Ann?
Okay. You know who it is then?
Ann Reno, right?
Yes, yes.
Perfect, great to hear you, Ann. You are good to go.
Hear you. Okay.
Here again.
Yeah,
All right. If you're calling in and your number ends in 4019, could you please unmute yourself and say your first and last name?
Chantel Brown.
Thank you, Chairwoman Brown. All right.
Gwen McFarland.
I'm sorry, can you say that?
Gwen McFarland, Hamilton County Chair.
Gotcha. Thank you, Chairwoman McFarland.
Thanks.
All right.
Jamie. Well, I'm going to, all I want you to do is introduce AFTAB first and talk.
Simon, do me a favor. Get rid of the banner, please.
All right. Hello? Hello?
I see you.
All right. If your number ends in 4172, can you please unmute yourself?
Do we have enough members to start the meeting?
No, Ryan, we got to figure out all the phone numbers before we can start. All right, folks, if you called in by phone, I need you to unmute yourself and tell us who you are when I read off your phone number, okay? First phone number, 330-264-0259. Who's calling in with that number? 330-264-0259.
Bill, that number's Lupe Williams.
Oh, thank you, Lillian.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lupe. All right.
Okay.
All right, next number. Did you get that one, Simon?
I did.
All right, next number, 330-322-5780. 330-322-5780. Who is that?
Christina Shaw.
Christina, thank you. Next number, 419-376-7360. 419-376-7360. That's Mike Friedman. That's Mike Friedman, the 419 number. Next number, 513-317-4172. That's Veronica Kistner. 513-317-4172 is Veronica Kistner. Kistner. 513-226-4534. 513-226-4534. Who is that? Is that Mr. Sohi?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's Paul Sohi, S-O-H-I. Is that everybody on the numbers there, Simon?
Yes.
Okay, if someone joins with a number, we'll have to do it in the midterm. We got everybody marked in there now. Simon, we all set?
As far as I see, yes.
Okay. Okay, Chair McLean, we got everybody marked so far.
Didn't call my phone.
Lenny, I got you in. Don't worry about that. I have your number, so you're already in.
Are we ready, Mr. Demore, to proceed?
You got me in, Steve Hightower.
Yes, sir. If you're on video, we have you. Let me make sure. Yes, you're on, Steve. I got a couple people trying to get on. Hold on. Simon, real quick, go over how to mute and unmute themselves, please, one last time.
So muting and unmuting should just be pressing your phone. To raise your hand on your phone, I see you have to press *9. But to unmute yourself, you literally just unmute. You hit the unmute button.
Simon, what if someone did not pre-register? Can they register right now and then get in on the call? I just got that question asked.
Yes.
Leader Yuko's having problems with that, so he just called me,
Are we ready to begin?
Senator.
I see Mike Ray has, do you have me down? We do have you down, Mike. And Beth, we will keep everybody muted until it is time to speak. If you want to be recognized to speak, please make sure to raise your hand. If you're on your phone, that's *9. If you are on your computer, you can press the raise hand function, which will be found in the bottom of your screen. Or if you press participants and then click raise hand underneath there.
Hold on. Simon, are you letting Senator Yuko in? Is he in now? He's waiting in the waiting room. All right, you should be in, Senator. All right, all right.
Are we ready? Can we begin?
Not quite yet, Chairwoman.
Okay.
Lenny, I see your hand is raised. Do you have a question?
This is Lenny Powell. Did you get me?
Yes, we do see you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And just so everybody knows, we have everybody that has joined so far, we have your first and last name. We do see you, so you don't have to worry about checking in with that. If you do have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat or raise your hand like Lenny just did. If you're joining us by phone, you can do that by pressing *9, or you can, if you're joining by computer, you can use the raise hand function on the computer.
I'm having a couple people having problems getting in. I'll try to deal with that. So go ahead and start, Chair McLean.
Thank you very much, Mr. Demora. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this January the 14th, 2021 State Executive Committee special meeting and our first meeting of the year of 2021. I would like to start off with saying Happy New Year to everyone, and also wishing everyone a happy Martin Luther King Day, which will be on Monday, and that also to have you celebrate next week the inaugural with President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris. I'd like to give you some words of wisdom for this evening, and then this is what I have to say. Your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, and the way you make others feel is your trademark. This is the description of a Democrat. Thank you for allowing me to be your vice chair for the past 15 years and your chairperson for 14 days. Thank you and welcome. May we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Mr. Demore, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair.
At this time, we would like to have Simon Dallas explain how to be recognized for a vote.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We are letting one more person in. Their number is via phone. Their number is 614-963 or 614-496-3910. If you could please.
That's Gary Martin. Gary Martin.
Perfect. Thank you. So thank you all, executive committee members, for joining us tonight. To be recognized tonight, I would ask that everybody stay on mute until they are recognized by either Secretary Demore or Chairwoman McLynn. You can be recognized by raising your hand, which will, if you're on the computer, will be found in the bottom of your screen by clicking the raised hand function, or by clicking participants, and then you should see raise hand under participants. I see some people are testing it out right now, so we are seeing people raising their hands. If you are on the phone, please press *9 to raise your hand. That way we can see you there. With that, you're more than welcome to test it out right now. But at this point, I'll pass it back over to Chairwoman McLynn.
Thank you very much. At this time, we would like to have a motion for the approval of the minutes from the December 15th, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to approve the minutes from the December 15th, 2020. All in favor, say aye.
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 No, no,
Aye.
Ryan, raise your hand. No saying aye. Raise your
I'm
hand.
sorry. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. We must raise our hands.
We do not have a raised hand.
The motion passes, but Randy, it should be under your participants. It'll say raise hand. It'll say invite, mute me, or raise hand.
Found it. Thank you. Yeah.
The motion passes, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Demore. Next, we have a resolution that is to come before us, and it's the OLBC president that will it is part of the organization that the OLBC president has a place on the executive committee. Mr. Demore, would you like to explain this?
Yes, Madam Chair. The Constitution of which this committee was formed allowed for 5 presidents of statewide organizations to be automatic members of the committee. One of those 5 members was the president of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus. On January 4th, Representative Tom West became the president of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, replacing Representative Stephanie House. So as the president, as being an automatic member, we have to appoint him so he can have a vote this evening.
Thank you very much. It's resolution 2021-01. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, folks, when you're making motions and seconding, you need to raise your hand and be recognized, please. Do not voice in anything, okay? So moved by Chris Anderson, second by Linda Bogart.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? And don't forget to lower your hand once you have voted.
Okay.
The motion passed.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to do the adoption of the rules for the election of the chair or possibly vice chair for this evening. And this will be handled by Mr. Bill Demora. Would you go over the adoption of the rules, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. So everybody should have gotten this in their packet, but since people are on the phone and there are some people that did not get the packet. So here is the rules for this evening if approved by the body. The chair will open the floor for nominations, and Simon, please flash this on the screen. I think you can do that. The chair will open the floor for nominations. Each candidate will need a member to nominate and second their respective nominations. And folks, each candidate is giving me the folks they want to recognize them as their nominator and seconder. So please don't chime in and nominate and second somebody, because each candidate has told us who they'd like to do those for each of them. If a third candidate gets in, obviously do that, but we know for the two major candidates who's going to do those things. Each candidate's nominator will receive 1 minute to nominate their candidate. There'll be no time allotted for the seconding of the candidate. The person will just be recognized as the person who seconds. The chair will ask 3 separate times if there are other nominations. Upon the third time, should no other individual be nominated, the chair will ask for a motion to second to close nominations and take the vote to do so using the raise your hands feature via Zoom or phone. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes to address the body in the order they were nominated. ODP staff will alert the candidates when their time is up. At the end of the candidate speeches, the chair will call upon the secretary to take a roll call vote from each member. This is being done to guarantee that each member's vote is public and can be recorded by everyone in attendance. The roll will be called in the following manner. All the elected Central Committee representatives by their district number, starting with Senate District 1 through Senate District 33, in order, followed by the at-large members being called in alphabetical order by last name. So that starts with Alberti and ends with with Zimmerman. Should there only be one candidate nominated, the chair may ask for a motion to vote by acclamation for the individual. If that happens, the motion is made and seconded, the vote will be done by a raise your hand feature. Members of ODP staff, along with the deputy secretary, will confer with myself to make sure each has the same vote count for each candidate after each vote. After conferring with everybody, I will announce the result of the vote. In order to be declared the winner, an individual must receive 50% plus 1 of the votes cast. Should nobody receive the majority needed, a second round of voting will take place with all nominated candidates still remaining eligible. Should the second round of voting again not provide a winner with 50% plus 1 of the votes, the candidate with the lowest vote total will be dropped from consideration and the third round of voting will take place. The same procedure will be used if more rounds of voting are needed. Once an individual has declared the winner, they'll be given a few minutes to address the body. If the winning candidate is male, the meeting will be over once the chair asks to adjourn the meeting. If the winning chair candidate is a female, the newly elected chair will ask for nominations for the position of vice chair, as that position will become vacant by rule. The nominations of vice chair are limited to current male members of this committee. The nominating and seconding process, along with the voting process, will be the same if needed for the vice chair as it was for the chair. Upon conclusion of the chair and vice chair election, both new officers will be given the oath of office by Justice Michael Dunn. After the oath, the new chair can adjourn the meeting as they see fit. With that, I am going to, as a member of the body, make the motion to approve these rules. If there's a second, please raise your hand. Seconded by Carl Keith. Is there any discussion to this motion? If there's any discussion, please raise your hand. Simon, clear the hands real quick for me. If there's any discussion to this motion, please raise your hand. Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. I'm going to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, clear the hand, Simon. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion passes. The rules are adopted. And folks on the phone, since many of you didn't raise your hand, you need to hit *6. Is it *6 or *9, Simon?
I believe it's *9.
*9. To raise your hand on the phone is *9, just to make everybody clear about that. All right, Madam Chair, we have the rules, so you can now call for nominations for the office of chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary. At this time, we're opening up the floor for the election of the chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. And the first I want to recognize is Michael Ashford.
Can you hear me? Am I on, Simon?
Yes, sir, you're on.
We can.
I'm on. Hey, first of all, good evening to everyone. Hope you and your family are safe and well. I move to nominate Liz Walters. Liz has spent her entire career working with organizations, nonprofits, and the faith-based community to support and protect our democratic values. Liz has worked on some of the biggest campaigns: President Obama for Ohio, Congresswoman Betty Sutton, We Are Ohio, and she's held previous leadership positions with ODP. She's also raised millions of dollars for Democratic candidates. She's an organizer at heart. She will bring experience, vision, leadership, and a commitment to ODP chair. As a former city council person, president of council, former state representative, and former Ohio Democratic minority whip, I know the next leadership that I'm looking for, and it's in Liz Walters. That's why I asked for your vote for Liz Walters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have a second from Kathleen Clyde?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I enthusiastically second that motion.
Thank you very much, Kathleen Clyde. May I have a nomination for Antoinette Wilson by Kevin Boyd?
Hear me okay?
Kevin, you're a little low. Can't turn up the volume.
Maybe let me scoot up. Is this better? Is that better?
A little better, yes.
I don't know if this will work or not. How about that make any difference?
No, you're still very soft.
I'm not sure what that is. Maybe if I lift up does that sound better?
Yeah, now it's a little louder, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to hold my computer up here. Maybe how about this? If I do it that way, that work better? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, Ohio Democrats. It's so good to see so many great faces, and I'm so glad that you've been so engaged and involved in this process. It is my pleasure to nominate Antoinette Wilson for the role of chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. You know, Antoinette, I've known for over 25 years, and anyone who knows her knows that she's a person of integrity, a commitment, strong commitment to the party, and certainly political skill, acumen, and leadership demonstrated over the course of the last 35 plus years for the Ohio Democratic Party. But this is really about a candidate with the body of work to support where we need to go in America. 2020 was a tough, difficult year for all of us, but 2016 through 2020 was a challenging 4 years. But we're at a crossroads, and just like Georgia, we can take the steps to make it better going forward. I really believe deeply that Antoinette brings those skills, resources, and capabilities to doing that. We are the party of the big tent, and I think Antoinette Wilson is a person that represents that idea, that integrity, and certainly the skill and leadership to accomplish that. I hope you'll join me in supporting Antoinette Wilson for chair of the Ohio Democratic Party.
Thank you. Mr. Boyce, for a second, Janet Carson.
Thank you, Chairwoman Ryan. It is my honor to enthusiastically endorse the nomination of Antoinette Wilson to be chair of the Ohio Democratic Party.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? If not, I ask for a motion to close the nominations.
Made by Phil Geovasis, seconded by Brad Promis.
It's been properly moved in second to close the nominations for chair of the Ohio Democratic. Is there any discussion? Thank you very much, Mr. Demore. Is there any discussion?
There are no hands raised.
Okay. So at this time, all those in favor of closing the nominations, no discussion, raise your hand.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All opposed? Clear the hand, Simon. All opposed? Motion passes, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. At this time, Ms. Walters will have a time to speak. And she has, Mr. Demore, she
3
has
minutes.
3 minutes. And then after Ms. Walters, we will have Ms. Wilson, and then we will move for a vote.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It has been a true joy to speak with all of you, sometimes multiple times over the last 2 months as we deliberated and discussed the future of our party. I think we're all feeling pretty tired as we came through the end of the last cycle and as we come into this year. But I am so encouraged by the enthusiasm, the passion, and the commitment that I have seen from all of you and heard from all of you in our discussions. I know that with our work together, we are going to have a really bright future for our party that we love. And we're going to be in an exciting time to evolve this party into something new, something that is responsive to the needs of our activists and our voters and our candidates, and make it sustainable for the long run so that we can elect Democrats statewide from precinct committee all the way up to the federal level. I've had a chance to talk with many of you over the weeks about the things you want to see and the things you're thinking about the most as you make this decision tonight. Although it's not an exhaustive list, there are some really important common themes that you've heard me discussing, and I'm going to go repeat them again because I think they're worth sharing again. We really are all ready to make a long-term investment in building infrastructure that we can sustain over time for our party that values good data, protecting the vote and expanding the franchise for voters of Ohio, and improving our stakeholder communication both ways, both from the party and then from the grassroots back to the party. We need to organize Ohio everywhere and always. We have to make massive investments in Black voter registration, persuasion, and motivation operations that value the voice and perspective of Black voters all year round, not just at the run up to an election. We have to build a team that looks like our party. We have to have diversity in leadership, including African Americans at every level of our organization. ODP has to become a hub of research and communications with a values-based narrative about Democrats that calls people in and creates the positive culture we need while holding Republicans accountable. I'm a collaborative leader I've had the opportunity to work with many of you over the years on a lot of successes for Democrats. I have a passion for the work, and I'll work to build a coalition that moves this party forward and accomplishes our shared goals. I know that all of you will put a lot of hard work into the future of the party, and I'm here to do that with you. I'll put my heart and soul into building this organization. I'll seek input and buy-in from you before decisions are made, and I will listen more and talk less and work hard. I'm really happy to be here with you, and I'm just so grateful for the time and discernment you all have taken over these last 2 months. I know it's not been easy. I know it's taken a lot of your time. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you're doing to move our party forward and to really serve the people of Ohio in the future. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walters. Ms. Wilson. Ms. Wilson.
You're still muted, ma'am.
Good evening, Chair McClin and members of the Executive Committee. Sorry for my technical glitch there. Since this election for ODP chair began, we have witnessed unprecedented events nationally. You know, we've watched for weeks as Donald Trump has lied every day about presidential election results, continued unfounded allegations of fraud, and incited a mob to attack the Congress of the United States while they were confirming Joe Biden. It's clear that the Republicans cannot lead. With President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, I really believe we are clearly on a path to reuniting our country. We're all here today because we share the belief that this party can be reimagined. My vision for this party will chart a course in partnership with a goal to make our red counties a little more pink, our pink counties a little more purple, with the hope of more blue on the horizon. To do this, I just want to share once again the experience I bring. 20 years of executive leadership experience as a small business owner and as Assistant Secretary of State in managing a state agency. A track record of raising millions for individual candidates through grassroots and major donor strategies, and a winning record of electing over 50 Democrats at the local, state, and federal levels. On a personal note, I want to tell you about myself and my commitment to democracy. As the daughter of immigrant parents with my father from the field of honor, the value of truth, and the value of a lot of hard work. 2020 has been a year in which we have seen that the right to vote has never been more important. And the same is true for every person here tonight on Zoom. Your vote matters. Your vote decides the direction of this party, and not just for the next year or two, but for the next decade. Every candidate here this evening has supporters, and that is so important. This vote is very, very close. However, to me, nothing is more important than the strength and unity of this party. I can honestly say that in my career, I have always put the interest of this party first. And tonight, I'm going to do that once again, so that I ask that we unite in support of Liz Walters for party chair. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
I believe that Ms. Wilson just asked the committee to withdraw her nomination and vote Liz Walters by acclamation. So if you'll need to ask somebody to make that motion, please, and second it.
May we have a motion
So
to,
moved. Second.
Made by, I need to raise a hand, please. So Mark Mallory makes the motion, Mike Friedman seconds. Is there any
It's been-
discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
yes, recognize this, Mr. Mallory?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We've gone through a process for quite some time to select a new chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. There have been lots of calls made. There have been lots of conversations had. There have been multiple candidates in this race. We've gotten to a point where tonight we've had one of the candidates drop out and endorse another candidate. And I just want to say, Antoinette, that was a move that is very much appreciated by me, and I think many of the members of the executive committee. I myself have been in a situation where, for the good of the party, I dropped out of a race for a position with the DNC. And I immediately received a text from someone that says, "You're a stand-up guy." And I really appreciated that text. And Antoinette, I'm telling you, you're a stand-up person. I'm not going to put a gender on it, but you're a stand-up person for making the decision that you've made. And I want you to know I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Janet Carson has her hand raised.
I'm
Janet
sorry, Bill. I was going to make the motion to accept the withdrawal of Antoinette Wilson. I don't have a comment at this time. Thank you very much.
Okay, Kevin Boyce.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and for giving me the opportunity to speak. Let me just say this. I'm really excited that Antoinette Wilson went through the race. On the other hand, I want to share with you a little story about Liz Walters. When we talked early on in this race, and I want to congratulate her and thank Antoinette for doing what I think is an important thing to keep this party strong and together. But I talked to Liz Walters early on, and I just want to kind of set the tone for Liz Walters' chairmanship here. Talked to her early on, and I told her, look, I've known Antoinette my entire political career. We have been partners in a number of races, been in the foxhole 1,000 times together. I'm supporting Antoinette Wilson. And she said, okay, I respect that and appreciate that. But she stayed in touch throughout the race. And then she called me the other day and she said, and then we ended up talking, I think today or yesterday, I can't remember at this point, but she called me and said, look, I know you're with Antoinette and I'm not going to ask you to change that, but I hope that you'll work with me if I'm successful in this race. We've got a lot of work to do in this party, and we've got a lot of work to do to address a number of issues that America is facing, and we can do that through this work. And I think that speaks a lot to the potential of what we have here, and that's just change. And so I just wanted to say thank you to Antoinette Wilson for doing what is important for the party, and that's keeping us together. You know, a divided house is never our position of strength. And so I think that's what you're doing, and you should be commended for that. To Liz Walters, I think you've set the tone. We've got some real work to do, but I think you'll be up to the task, and congratulations.
Senator Sherrod Brown.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bill. And thanks for the comments of my friends Kevin and Janet and Mayor Mallory. Thank you. And Antoinette, that was a really class act, and thank you for doing that. I watched your last discussion between Antoinette and Liz, and what impressed me so much 2 or 3, maybe 3 nights ago, whenever I watched from my iPhone in Washington, and I was so impressed with the arguments back and forth. There was no rancor between the two candidates. There was they both put their ideas out there. They both had good ideas about working with the Legislative Black Caucus in our cities, and including our small cities like Mansfield, where I grew up, where there are significant African-American populations. They had ideas in rural Ohio. We can't keep losing rural areas as much as we do. And they have good ideas. They have, both of them, good ideas for our work in the suburbs, where we have elected, especially elected women in the suburbs. And we know that's the key to winning these races. I was on a losing side 5 or 6 years ago when David Pepper was elected state chair. I had supported somebody else. I know what it is to lose in a state party fight. I appreciate how the two of you came together. I am optimistic about 2022 and our governor's race and the whole state ticket. We have, in part because of Antoinette and Jennifer on the Supreme Court candidates for governor and U.S. Senate in 2022. We continue to build this party, and I think we show people through the dignity of work, we show people around the country that Ohio is in fact a toss-up state that we will begin to win again. So thanks to both candidates. And again, Antoinette, class act, and Liz, thank you both for your working together, even though your opponents working together so well during this process.
Next is Congresswoman Joyce Beatty.
Thank you very much. I won't repeat what has been said, but I think this is a turning point for us, and it speaks to leadership. So let me say to you, Antoinette, thank you. Great job. Your talents should be embraced and should be used, because we need all the help we can get. Congratulations to you, Liz. Most people know on this call that I've had in last week's a big voice in making sure this party, this process is fair and is equitable. You look on the screen and it speaks for itself. So I was glad to hear both candidates in the last few weeks. It did not start that way. Talk about Black America, talking about the needs of an African-American program as we get people registered to vote and as they vote. That's something I'm going to hold everybody accountable to. Senator Brown just reminded us in 2022, we have a huge race, and this is our time to win. So I hope to the party chair, Liz, you are strong enough that we become calculated enough to have a team running in 2022 that is reflective of our regions, reflective of those who register and carry the votes. I am very excited. I've talked with many different parts of this process that we know because of the DNC rules that we have to have a male as our vice president or vice chair. Our rules do not preclude us from having emeritus or other chairs. I would like to put on the record, it is my expectation as we move forward with our not only executive director, but other positions, that it looks like what democracy looks like, that I see some faces that look like my faces other than the person cleaning the building. You know, maybe too many of us have been silent. I've talked with Madam Leader with the Ohio Democratic Party. I talked with Mr. West with the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus. I've talked with the labor unions. I've talked with the senator. So let me put it all out on the table. I refuse to endorse a candidate prior to tonight because I wanted to hear Black America. I wanted to hear minority. I wanted to hear that we're going to work with brown and yellow and LGBTQ folks. And so I am very excited about the direction of the party. I'm very excited, Liz, for you to work with you and all others there. But like everyone else, the nation will be watching us and we have to do what we've said. They can't just be words because words matter. Thank you, and I yield back.
Paul Sohi. Okay, Mike Friedman.
Can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay, good. Thank you. To Joyce Beatty, I would like for you to go up to Mikey. I'm trying to think of her last name. She's a United States Congressperson.
Mr. Freeman, this is out of order. Mr. Freeman, you're out of order. You're not talking to the motion at hand, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought this was general open meeting. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. Tim Hogan. Tim Hogan. All right. Thomas West.
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. And Antoinette, I am so grateful for you for stepping in this race. All the candidates, I think you guys have done a wonderful job making your case. I'm not going to reiterate what Congresswoman Beatty said or many of the other individuals. I just want to say, on behalf of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, we are really, really ready to move forward with the party to bring up a new direction to the Ohio Democratic Party. And we just, again, want to thank you all and congratulations, Liz. We stand tall, ready to stand with you and work on behalf of equity within the state of Ohio.
Anthony Caldwell.
Thank you. Make the motion to close debate and to elect by acclamation.
Motion's been made to close debate and elect by acclamation, seconded by Tom Ritchie. The first vote will be to close debate. All in favor, say aye. Raise your hand, excuse me, raise your hand.
By raising hand.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, sign it off, close it off. Clear the hands. All opposed? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion passes. Now we'll take the vote to elect Liz Walters, the next chair of the Democratic Party, by acclamation. All those in favor, please raise your hand or hit *9 on your phone. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, clear the hands. All opposed? None. Congratulations, Ms. Walters. The floor is yours.
Thank you all so much. And Antoinette, let me start, please, with you and say thank you for the incredible effort and ideas and thought you've put into this campaign for chair. Your ideas and your participation and your ongoing work with us is going to make us all stronger. And I think as you've heard already, we're also deeply grateful for the role you're playing in helping to move this party forward. So thank you so much again. And I know I won't ask you to all unmute yourselves because I think Bill would kill me, but I do want us all to take a moment and recognize Chair Ryan McClin, who has been an incredible servant to this party over many years in her roles in elected office and her role serving the party. So Chair McClin, not enough noise we could make to truly express our gratitude. And I know we'll find a way once COVID is behind us to recognize you and to honor you the way you deserve. I know that you all are very tired and have been very troopers through this process. I just want to say a couple of quick thank yous to Congresswoman Beatty and to Senator Brown for your remarks tonight and for your vote of confidence moving forward. I will work hard to honor that. And I've had a lot of discussions and made a lot of commitments to this process, and I will honor those in partnership with all of us here on this call. To outgoing Chairman David Pepper, I want to say thank you. This job is not easy for any of them, and as former Chair Chris Redford knows it is hard work and it is often thankless. So to David, thank you for all you've done over the last few years, and to the staff, and to, of course, our party secretary Bill DeMora for all the work they've done to keep us all together and put this together over the last few weeks, and make sure we all knew how to use Zoom, raise our hands, and be able to share our ideas. And of course, to all of you for the time and energy you've put into this process. I also want to give a special thank you to the members and the leaders of the labor movement who are a part of our organization. I'm a proud member of a union family. I know that your support, both of myself and of our party, represents the thousands of working people around our state who are counting on us. And I'm really honored to share that work. I'm moving quickly to announce an interim executive director and launch a full transition for the party, which you all will be a critical part, and you'll be hearing from myself and others in the weeks and months ahead. I'm committed to making this transition as transparent and inclusive as possible, but I do want to acknowledge we'll try and give you a bit of a breather for the next 3 days and let us all enjoy and focus on our big day next week to watch President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris be sworn in. But in the meantime, I'll end with one thing, and then we can move on to our next order of business, is to make one ask of you to think about while we talk, before we talk again and get to our work, which is I want each of you to think about who motivates you to do this work. Not what, but who. Who is the person or the people that you hold in your heart, and what are their stories? Reflecting on these people and on these stories always give us motivation. It renews our call and our commitment to the important work ahead. And ultimately, it's what gives us joy in the work. My renewed call came for this work in a big way in 2019. I walked beside my Aunt Justine at the end of her life. She's my middle of my mom's 6 sisters. Yes, you heard that right. She has 6 sisters. She never had any kids of her own, but her many nieces and nephews were the children of her heart. She was an hourly wage worker, mostly in food service for most of her life. She was full of grace and dignity, and she gave so much love to all of us. We lost her to cancer because it was diagnosed too late, because she had inadequate access to healthcare and lacked the protections like paid sick leave and a solid retirement. Throughout this journey with her, I was struck again and again by how hard she worked, how hard she loved, but the many ways systemic inequalities did not reflect her true value. I hold her story in my heart every day, and it's really what motivated me to continue forward with this work. So, and I know that all of you have these stories too. And now more than ever, we need to lean into them, because the work ahead for our party will be hard. And no doubt we are going to have many tough conversations, have many detailed plans about our strategy and our tactics. But ultimately, our work is about people. And we have to keep people at the center of our organization and the center of our plans, and make space for and honor their stories. So I say thank you again, and I hope everyone stays safe and healthy, and I yield back the floor. Thank you.
Madam Chair, is it my understanding that you would like me to conduct the election for vice chair?
Yes, I do not have your strength of experience in conducting elections on Zoom, Bill. So for the sake of all of us, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, our next order of business is to accept nominations for the position of vice chair. Again, it must be a male member of this body. I recognize Tom West.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Bill Demora. I appreciate that. Yes, I recommend, he's no stranger to none of us, Andre J. Washington. He's a single father of two African-American men. He has dedicated over 20 years to civil and voter rights. Andre is current state treasurer for the Ohio State Conference of NAACP. As a president of the Ohio A. Philip Randolph Institute, Mr. Washington has challenged Ohio's gerrymandering agenda in case Ohio A. Philip Randolph versus Householder, advocates for multiple ballot drop-off boxes in case versus Ohio versus Ohio A. Philip Randolph versus LaRose, and led the charge against purging voters in Ohio A. Philip Randolph versus Husted. So I would ask all of you to join with me in supporting Andre J. Washington.
Do we have a second from Tim Berga?
Thank you, Secretary Demora. Madam Chair, I support the nomination of Andre Washington as Vice Chair of the party. I've known Andre for many years. We've worked together on many projects that give voice to those that too often cannot be heard. As president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute of the AFL-CIO, Andre serves on the Ohio AFL-CIO Executive Board, where every day he carries out the mission of fighting to achieve economic and social justice. I've seen firsthand Andre's dedication and tireless fight for workers' rights, voter rights, and his deep sense of caring and humanity. Andre will put his skills and experience to good use in contributing to future successes of the Ohio Democratic Party, and I urge your support of this nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Berga. Are there any other nominations? Please raise your hand feature or *9. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations for Vice Chair? Seeing none, I will ask somebody to make a motion to close nominations. Moved by Christopher Anderson, second by Matt Zone. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to close nominations and elect Andre Washington by acclamation, please raise your hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, all opposed? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Washington. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes. I want to thank everybody for the trust that you placed in me. You know, service is the price that we pay for rent here on earth. And with the days that I've been loaned, I have done nothing but service. And for the days that I have left, I will continue to serve. I promise to bring nothing but my best to this Democratic Party, because my best is all I have to give. I will work with Liz to fight for justice where injustice resides. We will fight for fairness. We will fight to win Democrats, not just the top down, but bottom up. And we will fight to evict wrong and to make sure that justice and right will dwell and prevail. I want to thank you for this opportunity to serve the biggest, baddest, boldest Democratic Party in this country, the Ohio Democratic Party. Ohio, O-H-I-O. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Justice Donnelly is on the call. Chairwoman Walters and Vice Chair Washington, would you please, Justice Donnelly is going to give you the oath of office. Justice Donnelly, I turn it to you.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. Well, first, before I start, I want to say hello to everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces, so many faces that I owe so much gratitude. Justice Stewart and I from 2018 placing us on the Ohio Supreme Court. And I want to congratulate Liz Walters and Andre Washington on behalf of both myself, Justice Stewart, And Justice Bruner joined us for the first time this week. And it's great to have someone on board the Ohio Supreme Court that believes just as strongly in criminal justice reform and combating racial inequality in our justice system. So thank you for your support in placing her on the court with us. And so congratulations. It's great to be here and perform this honor to on this historic night, swearing in the first woman to chair this great party. So I will, Bill, do we do the oath one after the other?
No, do it at the same time. It's the same oath.
Okay. All right. So then Ms. Walters, Mr. Washington, if you just repeat after me, raise your right hand and state your name.
I, Andre Washington,
Hereby swear or affirm
Hereby swear
or affirm
to faithfully support the Constitution
to faithfully
support
Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America,
and
laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the
Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio,
of the State
of Ohio,
the Charter and bylaws
the
Charter and the bylaws
of the Democratic National Committee
of the
Democratic National Committee,
and the Constitution
and the Constitution,
bylaws
and
principles
principles
of the Ohio Democratic Party.
of the
Ohio Democratic Party.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, before you ask for a motion to adjourn, I need both you and Mr. Washington to contact me this evening because believe it or not, I have paperwork to fill out because you have votes next week for the chair of the DNC, which occurs 1 week from today. So I'll need you both to contact me so I can get a hold of you both with fill out paperwork. With that, Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you all. I think we have folks who have raised their hand. What's the procedure here, Bill? Is this just to adjourn or is there?
I don't know, you might want to ask. So Mark Mallory, are you raising your hand for?
Yes, I am. Madam Chair, permission to make some comments?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations to you, and congratulations to you specifically for the historic moment that this is in the state of Ohio. And Andre, congratulations to you as well as the vice chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. I know that between the two of you and the team that you have formed, you're going to be great for our party and great for the citizens of the state of Ohio. I did want to take this opportunity to turn off my phone, first of all, and say a few words about Ryan McGlynn, my buddy, who I served with in the Ohio House, who I served with in the Ohio Senate, and who was mayor at the same time I was mayor. She was mayor in Dayton, I was mayor in Cincinnati. And for all of the time that I can think of, Ryan McGlynn has been a party person. She has been very involved at all levels of the party. She has been on the DNC for a number of years. She is on the ASDC, the Association of State Democratic Chairs. And in both those capacities, she has amassed a great amount of influence that has benefited the state of Ohio and the Democratic Party here. So I just wanted us to make sure that we understand her past role, understand the impact that she's had, and certainly hope that we can find a way or ways that she can continue to be involved in the leadership of the Ohio Democratic Party.
Thank you, Mayor Mallory, for your comments. Really appreciate them. You have something, Bill?
One more hand. I have Representative Gerald's.
Thank you.
Hi, Madam Chair, permission to speak?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to offer the same congratulations to the one and the only, the Dayton legend, the ceiling destroyer, our chair, former chair, Ryan McGlynn. You know, as president of the Ohio Young Black Democrats, a former president, you know, I can't say enough how many times I called her and asked for advice on how to navigate the process. They oftentimes say that as a Black person, is a different journey that one has to navigate politically to get into these spaces, into these rooms. And for her to have done everything that she has done to propel future generations forward. I just know that for every single young person who is on this call, who is watching on YouTube, who is seeing this, believe and just know that she's been an anchor for so many of us. And so I just want to give her flowers and just say thank you. I also want to say thank you to you and congratulations to you, Chairwoman, and to Andre. Looking at you, Vice Chair Washington, I see the passion and the work and the love of this moment for you. And I know that for all of us as young people, particularly, we're going to be right behind you, pushing you, elevating you, lifting as you climb, so that we as a collective party can grow and bring people in who didn't even feel connected to the brand, to the message, to the values of what we're trying and talking about. This work is too important. And future generations, I think about the links that we're all connected to and where we want to go. And as people, we have to do much more to move our party forward. And I know with you two at the helm, we're going to do some amazing things, and we're going to hold you accountable to make sure that happens. And so as a young person, as with my friend Chris Anderson and so many who are on this executive committee, as the future of this party, I just want to say thank you. And I look forward to the historic work that you all both are going to do for the party for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gerald. I'd like to recognize Senator Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say something about Ryan McClin too. Joyce Beatty and I have had such wonderful discussions over the last several years about the McClin family. And I first met Ryan long before she was mayor. It was in the 1970s, I believe, certainly by the early 1980s. And when I ran for Secretary of State in '82, I spent a lot of time with her father and watch him teach me and teach Ryan and teach Joyce and teach everyone he touched what grassroots politics was all about. And as many of you know, C.J. McClin was the first sort of political boss in a good way in Ohio. And he owned a funeral home. And every Saturday morning, for as long as it took, people lined up outside the funeral home or inside the funeral home if the weather was inclement, and he would meet with, I believe at the bottom of the steps, if I remember, in the basement. Joyce can remember this more precisely, but he would meet with anybody in Dayton, anybody in his district that needed help. And that's how Ryan McClin learned politics. And really that's how I learned politics, with a handful of mentors like CJ. And I know that's how Joyce learned politics. And it really does speak to the grassroots nature of our party. So Ryan, thank you. And Tom West, I think your nomination, your choice of Andre Washington was a really good pick for the Democrats to speak to our grassroots efforts. We win in 22 and beyond because of our grassroots efforts. 30, as we know, 80 million by far. A number of us have had conversations with Stacey Abrams about how we do in Ohio what she did in Georgia. Imagine that. My mother grew up in a small town in Georgia. She died 10 years ago. She got to know Joyce late in life. And my mom would have been so excited with that Georgia elected an African-American and a Jewish United States senators. And what a different country we are now, and what a different country we're going to be. So I look at the beauty of these faces on this screen, 6 pages worth, and it just makes me smile. So Antoinette, thank you. Liz, thank you. Andre, thank you. And all of you, Ryan and Bill and everybody on this call, thanks so much.
Thank you. I think the next hand I saw was Congresswoman Beatty's.
Thank you. And I'll just say ditto. I wasn't going to say anything else, but after everyone talked about Ryan, I've known Ryan longer than anybody probably on this call. We grew up together. Her father was a mentor. My first big job, had been with Ryan the whole time, talked to her earlier today. So Ryan, I just want to say thank you like everyone else. Your job is not done. We're going to be pulling you in to do more things. I call her a quiet soldier, and I'm guilty of this. A lot of times we didn't know what Ryan was doing, but Ryan was always doing something. She's probably one of the strongest individuals that I know in her own way. She's her own person, and she's always fighting for us, whether you know it or not. Your dad would be proud of you now, girl. And Sherry, you're right. I spent many a days in the basement of that funeral home, spent many of days with CJ. My husband, all of you probably know Otto Beatty and CJ were roommates. He was CJ's attorney. And so we love you, girl. Thanks.
Thank you, Congresswoman. I think the next hand I saw was Mr. Friedman. Mr. Friedman. All right, we'll go on to our next one. Commissioner Reese.
Thank you. I would be remiss not to chime in and thank Ryan McGlynn. Of course, her father and my father knew each other, but more importantly, just growing up as a young Black woman and having someone that we could point to and see that was just down the road in Dayton, Ohio. And she has broken so many barriers. Right now, certainly around the country, Black women are finally getting some of the recognition for all the work that Black women have done in being loyal and helping people win, Democrats especially win. And so there's a lot more focus on it. But Ryan McGlynn came at a time when we didn't have that. And she was breaking glass ceilings for so many women and African-American women. So I want to acknowledge her for that. But more importantly, as a vice chair of our party, she is very well known and respected across the country. When she goes up to the national DNC, she gives us a voice, a seat at the table, because so many people across the country know her and respect her. And she has also helped us bring money back to the state party when they had money for African-American outreach. And so I wanted to make sure that that is acknowledged as someone, when I look to her and I've had a chance to win at the city, the state, and now the county level, I could look at Ryan McGlynn and so many other Black women that were able to break those glass ceilings. But I also want to thank Liz, and I've expressed this to Liz today. We had a great talk today, and I'm looking forward to you, Chairwoman Liz Walters, as we move forward to move into a new way of doing things. We can't have the old playbook. We got to throw that old playbook away and come with a new blueprint like they did in Georgia, like they did at one time in Alabama when we had to win. And I know we can do it here in Ohio. Andre Washington, my very good friend, my brother, not only does he have the passion, but he has the experience. Not only is he grassroots, but he's known in the NAACP at the state and the national level. Andre and I went all over Ohio, 88 counties, at least 3 times with the Voter Bill of Rights. We've been all over the country. He's been involved with the civil rights groups, National Action Network, etc., March on Washington. He's been there. So he has a lot of contacts through A. Philip Randolph and others that he can bring back to help us move forward. So I'm excited about the team and the new blueprint with the new playbook. We had to do it down here in Hamilton County. We had to come with a new playbook in a pandemic, and we were able to win in a Republican county. I know we can do this around the state, and I'm looking forward to rolling up my sleeves. But thank you, Ryan McGlynn. It's not over, but I just want to thank you for what you did, because without you, there couldn't be a lot of us that's on this Democratic Party right now, and those who are not on the executive committee as well, who have made strides because you cracked the door open to allow us to walk in.
Thank you, Commissioner Reese, very much for your comments. Okay, we have 3 last hands raised. We'll get to these 3 pokes, and then I think we'll adjourn. Next hand up in order that they came up was Chairman Redfern.
Congratulations, Chairwoman.
Thank you, sir.
We love you. And from Joe Regola, he gave me the most important advice, Liz Walters, single malt scotch. Congratulations. We love you, Ryan. Good luck to Andre and Liz.
Thank you, sir. Leader Sykes, I saw your hand next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to add to the pylon of praise to our former chair, Ryan McGlynn, and Vice Chair Ryan McGlynn, and thank her so much for her service. It truly is a pleasure being a young Black woman. I'm getting not so young these days, but having someone to look up to and follow in their footsteps, as Madam Vice President Commissioner Reese said, and being able to talk about Black women in these incredible roles in the state of Ohio, where often we have not had the ability to be in these rooms and make the statements that we do. So to Madam Chairwoman McClin, I continue to look up to you, to be thankful for you. I will hope that you continue to send me those many encouraging messages all the time, even though you are no longer in that position. You are encouraging leadership all of the time, and we are truly indebted to you forever. And this party owes you more than we probably can ever repay you. And to our new Madam Chairwoman, again, I like the sound of those, and our Vice Chair, Andre Washington, thank you. I will be calling on you a lot, so please don't get tired of this voice, but thank you for being willing to take on this often thankless job. I see you, Redford, and wanting to lead this party forward. I know it is going to be a challenge, but we look forward to working hand in hand with you as you make your efforts to turn Ohio blue for once and for all, to keep Ohio blue. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Senator Kearney, you'll be our last speaker tonight.
Oh, okay. Two quick things. One, congratulations, Liz, and congratulations, Andre. You're going to hit it out of the ballpark. You're absolutely fantastic. I wanted to say thank you to Ryan McClin, who, when I was first appointed senator, I was brand new to politics. I'd never served anywhere. She took me aside and scolded me. And she told me, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to do this. And she probably named about 10 things, which I appreciate her taking the initiative and pulling my ear and trying to guide me in the right direction. And she didn't have to do it, and I greatly appreciate that. And thank you for your service to the party.
Thank you, Senator. Sorry, we had one more hand come up, and then we'll get a motion to adjourn. Chris Anderson, did you have comments?
Oh, actually, I was just trying to keep my streak going of making the motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn from Chris Anderson. Do we have a second? A second from Brian Hester. All those in favor, please raise your hand to signify aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to being in touch again soon and working with you in the future. Have a good night, all. Stay safe and healthy.
Thanks. Congrats.